Olá, boa noite!
Olá,
Boa noite.
boa noite.
Estamos mais uma vez aqui online na nossa live pré-Encontro Internacional para a gente fazer um esquenta aí antes do nosso evento, nosso grande encontro com diversos professores e profissionais, onde vocês vão poder trocar, né, com outros profissionais também, além dos professores, né, aqui organizado pela Faculdade Phorte. Bom, antes de começar e apresentar essas duas
Carol,
feras que
conecte
estão
seu
aqui
iPhone ao
comigo.
carregador.
Opa, tá falando aqui comigo, desculpa, gente. Antes da gente começar aqui e eu apresentar a Bruna e a Maggie, queria passar alguns recadinhos bem rapidinhos para vocês, tá? Desde semana passada, eu tô falando também aqui nas nossas lives, né? Que o nosso encontro ele mudou. A data do nosso evento mudou para o dia 2 de março, tá bom, gente? Como o nosso evento ia acontecer de forma presencial, só que tinha muita gente ao redor do Brasil todo que não ia conseguir vir, que não poderia vir. Então a gente recebeu bastante pedido, a gente analisou aqui todas as possibilidades possíveis e a gente optou, né, por fazer esse evento online e colocamos ele para o dia 2 de março. Então, anotem aí na agenda, dia 2 de março, 2/3, o horário vai ser o mesmo, tá? O evento ele vai começar às 9h, a programação também continua a mesma. Se tiver alguma alteração, a gente vai anunciar para vocês, vai enviar por e-mail e também vai atualizar lá no cronograma, tá bom? Assim que vocês se inscrevem no evento, vocês recebem um e-mail com todo o cronograma. Então, se você ainda não se inscreveu, aqui embaixo no link da descrição tá o link do evento para você poder se inscrever. E se você já se inscreveu, fica tranquilo que você vai receber o link no dia do evento e também o link de todas as lives pré-evento que está acontecendo. Na semana passada, a gente já acompanhou duas lives, que foi com a Bruna Shimabuko, ela falou sobre o mercado de atuação de PLE no mundo. A gente também conversou com a professora Jane Curry, que ela falou sobre Practicing Mindfulness in Language Learning and Teaching. Foi uma palestra em inglês. Então, se vocês quiserem rever essas palestras, tá aqui no nosso link do YouTube, tá? No nosso canal do YouTube. Vocês podem rever. E hoje, sem muita enrolação, vamos falar sobre a presença da BRIDGE nas universidades do mundo. E ninguém melhor que a Maggie de Oliveira está aqui com a gente. Ela é professora e gerente das relações institucionais da BRIDGE. Ela colabora também com as organizações parceiras da BRIDGE, né? E dá apoio também aos trainees durante toda a sua jornada de aprendizagem. A Maggie, ela é mestre em linguística aplicada e ela tem anos de experiência ensinando no IFL e no ISL, no Brasil e nos Estados Unidos. Também, como ex-professora de ELT, ela aplica práticas de observação e reflexão para melhorar também a continuidade e a experiência geral do curso para os formandos da BRIDGE também. Ao mesmo tempo que ela também implementa melhores práticas inovadoras, né, de e-learning para orientar os formandos no alcance dos seus objetivos de desenvolvimento profissional. Maggie, é um prazer enorme ter você aqui hoje para falar um pouquinho sobre a BRIDGE com a gente. E também tenho outra presença aqui ilustre, que é um prazer revê-la, que é a Bruna Pérez. Ela é graduada em letras e em pedagogia também, especializada em gestão de pessoas e também em ensino de língua inglesa e uso de novas tecnologias. Ela já lecionou inglês como segunda língua em colégios de ensino regular, escolas de idiomas e cursinhos preparatórios para o vestibular também. Ela já foi coordenadora pedagógica de duas grandes escolas de idiomas e fez parte aqui da equipe de coordenação também de cursos de pós-graduação de ensino de língua inglesa e de tradução da CULT. A CULT, acredito que a grande maioria também aqui conhece, coordena os cursos de tradução e ensino aqui da Faculdade Phorte, então eu já tive o prazer de trabalhar aqui com a Bruna também. Além, né, disso, durante 5 anos, ela também criou vários materiais, organizou eventos, trabalhou na construção da formação continuada também dos professores e tradutores. Mas, atualmente, ela é a diretora pedagógica e administrativa do Colégio Super-Humanos, que fica lá em Guarulhos. Então, ela tem experiência no exterior, tem certificado internacional, tem vários cursos livres, e hoje ela atua na área da educação e realiza pesquisas, trabalhos acerca do ensino de língua inglesa em diferentes contextos e construção da educação bilíngue. Então, vocês estão com 2 feras aqui da educação de ensino de língua inglesa. Eu espero que vocês aproveitem bastante, perguntem bastante. Se você está assistindo essa live depois, se já acabou e você está assistindo agora, manda pergunta também para a gente, manda aqui no WhatsApp, que está no link da descrição, que a gente vai mandar para elas, a gente vai mandar para os nossos professores e a gente vai ter o prazer de responder vocês aqui, tá bom? Meninas, muito obrigada de novo por vocês estarem aqui presente nesse pré-evento. É um prazer enorme ter vocês. Eu vou deixar a palavra com vocês agora.
Obrigada a você, Carol.
Obrigada, Carol, para a introdução.
Imagina. Maggie, se você puder colocar os seus slidezinhos aqui também, tá? Que eu já coloco aqui para projetar, para o pessoal conseguir ver.
Deixa eu ver se...
Pessoal, a Bruna também, ela vai ficar aqui nos bastidores com a gente e já ela volta para falar sobre uma parceria também que a Bridge vai mencionar aqui lá no finalzinho da live, certo, Bruna?
Carol, eu
Certíssimo.
coloquei aqui. Ok, tá certo. Ótimo.
Até mais, Maggie.
Ok.
É toda sua.
Obrigada.
Obrigada,
pessoal que está aqui. Meu nome é Maggie de Oliveira e o sobrenome é bem brasileiro, né? Casei com um brasileiro quando eu estudei em UFV para 4 anos lá em Viçosa e acabando casando com um brasileiro. Mas agora eu vivo aqui em Denver, Colorado, Estados Unidos, trabalhando para a Bridge. E hoje eu pensei em fazer um portunhol nessa apresentação. Estou bem enferrujada com o português, mas também aprendendo espanhol. Então, você vai ver que é uma bagunça aqui. Mas eu acho que vai ser uma boa análise da minha desenvolvimento da língua. Mas, enfim, welcome. Obrigada por vir aqui. Hoje vamos falar um pouco sobre... Aqui tem o outline da apresentação. Antes de começar a falar Bridge nessa universidade, a nossa presença nas universidades, pensei em fazer um pouco de contexto para vocês que estão aqui no live. Gostaria de saber mais quem estão aqui, se puder colocar nos comentários. Eu estou vendo que a Sueli está aqui. E queria saber se vocês são professores já de inglês, de espanhol, de português. Eu entendo que tem uma mistura que estão convidados para esses eventos. Se quiser, deixar um comentário e falar para nós onde você está e tal, seria bom para a gente saber. Mas também vamos falar um pouco do contexto, né, de lifelong learning, que é um dos valores principais que temos aqui no Bridge. Falar também how Bridge and Faculdade Phorte can help you be a lifelong learner and the different resources that we have for you. E o valor de formação profissional, que talvez vocês já sabem isso, estão aqui para isso também. E estou vendo aqui uns comentários. Obrigada, Daniel. Boa noite. Já é professor de inglês em Minas Gerais, muito bom, mineiro aqui. E a Sueli é professora de português, ok. E está na Bolívia, muito bom, ok. Então, vamos que vamos. Por favor, deixe os comentários e perguntas que tenha, ou qualquer comentário que tenha. Primeira coisa aqui, para vocês refletir, are you a lifelong learner? I mentioned already that lifelong learning is a value at Bridge. We know it's important for every learner, as well as whether you're teaching or learning a language too. So we have a definition from Emeritus: the ongoing, voluntary, and self-motivated pursuit of knowledge for either personal or professional reasons. It's important for an individual's competitiveness and employability, but it also enhances social inclusion, active citizenship, and personal development. Pensei esse trecho importante também porque às vezes a gente pensa, né, em como melhorar para esse meta objetivo, né, ganhar mais salário, alguém está cobrando a gente fazer essa aprendizagem. Mas tem outras razões para ser lifelong learner that is involved in your own active citizenship in the world too. And there's some traits that have been identified for these lifelong learners. And I again invite you to reflect on these, and whether you have some of these traits, you might find yourself, yes, I'm very self-motivated already, but you may need to work on your curiosity. As we go through them, think about it yourself, and not to be too critical of yourself, but conscious of what could make a lifelong learner. And as we're entering 2024, it's a great time to set some goals of how you might take an additional step this next year in your own learning path too. So starting with self-motivation, of course, it's great to have the motivation of getting a raise, or you have to do this to finish a course. But it's also good to want to do it yourself, and finding the reasons that you yourself want to be able to learn whatever it is you're looking to learn. Curiosity as well. So sometimes you can have a pathway and it's easy to read the book, but did you really dive in to really understand? Did you understand everything that was uncovered? Or is there a different path you could go on to learn more about? What interests you? What were you curious about? And how could you learn more about that? Taking ownership for your own learning is also a trait of a lifelong learner, where you're not expecting somebody to just feed you the information and be your own source, but finding the ways that you can learn, that you learn yourself, that work for you, right? Thinking about if it's books, different websites, courses, a group of people that help you, and really being aware of the resources that are available to you. And taking ownership for what it is that you want to learn. If you see that you're getting feedback from students or colleagues or professor that you need to work on a certain area, how can you take ownership for your own self-improvement? And then we have collaboration, where you might have a community of practice. So we're not just operating alone, but being able to work with each other to learn, having these knowledge networks. Whether it might be a book club that you're doing, I do in my personal life, or working with teachers in a professional aspect. Finding ways to collaborate is a great way to elevate your learning to another level. Risk-taking, right? There's always something about, taking a new path to learn where you're going to discover there's much more to learn, or maybe you try out a new course and different things happen in life that you're not able to finish it, but taking that risk and understanding, doing everything that you can to be able to put your best foot forward and work towards always learning. Agility as well, where you're opportunistic, taking advantage of the different opportunities that are available to you. Whether it is a paid event that you see as a good opportunity for you to make the investment, or free resources that are out there for you, being really willing and agile for that. And then application. For this trait, I thought about the action, research, and reflection that we see in different teaching education cycles, where it doesn't really complete the circle if you've done the registered your actions, done the research, but never put it into action. So I think this is where that reflective piece of applying it, that reflection and then application, is really that key component to actually make sure that you are progressing. And this last point is really interesting because I think it applies a lot to education and language education specifically on willingness to unlearn. There are so many different methods and approaches to teaching grammar, teaching in a communicative approach, teaching in total physical contact, all the different ways that you can do it. And there's always new things that are coming out as well. And when we've been teaching for 20 plus years, it's easier when you're fresh and just getting started and you're learning everything and absorbing it. But how about when you've been teaching for 10, 20 plus years? Are there new ways that you can either unlearn something that is not working anymore? And what else you can do to improve based on the time that you are in currently, who you are working with? Boa noite, Jessica. Bem-vindo. E a Natália também. Also looking at our context of the future and where we're at, right? Future is now. We hear these terms about teaching 21st century skills, teaching future skills and transferable skills. But really, when you think about it, we're already in the future, right? We're 23 years in, already starting the 24th year. And all of the different innovations that are coming about bring opportunities and challenges. AI is a great example of that. We're really just figuring out, seeing how we can leverage it in the classroom with our learners, and also the challenges that we're facing on making sure they're actually learning what is being, their different lessons. Are they taking advantage of it too much? How can we make sure that they are learning? So there's lots of challenges on both sides. Of course, then we have innovations arising daily that really accelerate that need of some of those lifelong learning traits of having some self-motivation to learn, having willingness to unlearn so that you can learn something new as well. So these factors play together in that lifelong learner as innovations come out, and we see different ways that we might need to interact with our students to support them in interacting with the world as well. And so I bring us to this idea that teachers need to be lifelong learners. This is something that I imagine you've heard about, and it's something that we talk about in education as well. And we have a question for you. I'd love to hear your feedback if you have anything to share here. Do you think teachers can prepare learners for employability and success in the future without being lifelong learners themselves? And this is really open to hearing what comments you have. Why or why not? Pode ser em português também. Estou falando bastante inglês aqui, mas queria saber quais comentários tem aqui. If you think that teachers can prepare learners for employability, meaning being a valuable employee in the workforce, being a valuable contribution to their own businesses, and being successful as well in their language goals, whether they're needing to use Portuguese, English, or Spanish in the workplace. Do you think that teachers can do that without being lifelong learners themselves? Camila, boa noite, bem-vindo. So I'll let you think about that. I'm happy to, I know sometimes when you're thinking about those questions and writing out your comment there in the chat, it can take some time, but think about it, and hopefully that gives you a little context of why we're bringing this to you, talking about Bridge and Phorte and the different programs that we have today, to show you a little bit of the value that we see in lifelong learning and why it's important for us to be able to give teachers opportunities to learn and connect with one another. So that's the underlying message that I have for you that I'm making pretty clear now, but to let you know that this is why we're talking about Bridge here with Faculdade Phorte. That's where we get to this next part of the presentation. I'd love to hear any commentary that you have, any questions. So Bridge Education Group, we're also known as Bridge. We've been actually in doing language courses and teacher training for over 35 years. We actually started in Brazil. Our current headquarters are in the United States, but we also have a presence in Chile and Argentina too. And so we've been doing this for a while, and a large driver behind our teacher training is that from our language centers, we wanted really qualified English teachers to be training our language students. We also are really, our accreditations are really important to us. So we have an accreditation with Acesse, which is recognized by the U.S. Department of Education. Our website is actually edu, an edu.edu, and we get that because of our accreditation. This is important for our learners as well, to make sure that they're learning with a qualified organization where they can have their qualifications recognized internationally. And we have teachers using our courses and qualifications in over 140 countries around the world. We also have ACE credit, which allows for a college credit recommendation. Now, I understand a lot of people might already be have finished your programs in Brazil. A lot of these ACE credits are a university credit backing in the United States. But there is something to knowing that it is of that caliber, the course that you're taking with Bridge, and it's something that you can show to employers as well, and something we can also support you in any documentation that you might need. We have a large portfolio of courses. We have over 40 plus different courses that teachers can take with us. And now I'll talk a little more about them later, but they range from those that are just getting started to those I might have been teaching for 20, 30 years and are looking to learn new things. Those are the lifelong learners I'm talking about that have noticed that it's important for them to refresh their skills on teaching English pronunciation, for example, and we have a course on that. We ourselves are lifelong learners, particularly in the e-learning field, because it's always evolving. We started doing e-learning training for language teachers back in the early 2000s. You can imagine what it looked like on a website, how we had dial-up internet or whatnot at that time, but it really has evolved, and we're always looking for ways to make our programs more interactive, engaging for our learners who are teachers. We want them to take those practices into the classroom with their students. And here you can see an example of one of the certificates that you get upon completing a course with Bridge. And you also earn a digital badge, which is a great way to showcase your professionalism on LinkedIn and different locations. And then, true to our mission of supporting teachers in lifelong learning, the credentials are stackable, meaning as you complete more courses, your full certificate will show the full number of hours that you've completed with us. And here you see the different kind of triangle of programs that you could organize. And be thinking of 40 plus courses, where do I start? We are happy to advise you and give any additional information, but I want to give you an overview of what they look like with us. So towards the bottom is, we call them foundational and professional certificates. They're a little longer, between 40 and 150 hours of work. And they are great for somebody that's just getting started in teaching English as foreign language, or somebody that never had a formal certification. A lot of times we can get thrown into situations and never got that certification, but you're interested in getting that international recognition, and these would be a good course for you. But there's also that pathway for those lifelong learners, somebody that might have been teaching young learners for a long time and have decided they want to try something new, and you want to try business English. Or maybe your school is implementing CLIL methodology and you want to make sure that you have the skills needed for that. You might look for a course with us on that, which we do have topics in both in CLIL and business English. And then we also have our micro credentials, and these are short, between 10 to 30 hours on niche topics that you might, specific skills that can help you in your career, whether it's motivating you in the classroom or outside. If there's a certain credential that you want to be able to share with an employer or students that you're working with. So you might decide to go into teaching test prep, and we have different courses like teaching PTE, TOEFL, and IELTS, and that might be a specialization that you're interested in. This is something we see a lot of teachers doing, specializing in a certain area, because they find that it can be more lucrative and more interesting to focus and easier to be able to focus on that material. A quick look into our platform. This is the landing page when you log in there. But there's other videos and whatnot on our website if you want to look at it. But it's a self-paced e-learning experience on our platform where knowing that teachers are busy and need time to have different times that are free to be able to complete a course, they're able to log in at any time and complete the material. Now you have an assigned tutor to be able to support you in the course, but also discussion boards and interactive elements to make sure you can do it bit by bit. You can do as much as you want or a little bit at a time. Different resources that you can take into your classroom and use at a later time, and our whole support team and different study plans to really help you complete the course and motivate you to to finish what you started. And one thing that Phorte was interested in us talking about was our presence at different universities around the world, to share with the audience here a bit more about Bridge and our presence in different places. So we have pathway partner programs, number of them where when you take the 150-hour IDA online course, it's a graduate level course, and you can take it with us, get a little taste of what that graduate level course is, and transfer it into any of our pathway partner programs. This is really useful for people that aren't sure if they want to get started or they want to save on some tuition at some of these universities. You actually save by having those credits transferred. You'll be able to save some money that way. But beyond that, the pathway university partners, we have a lot of them in the United States, one in Scotland, another one in Australia. We also have the collaboration with the American Council on Education, and that has our several of our courses approved within 1,700 universities within the U.S. too. So there's another option of seeing that able to elevate the credential that you get with Bridge, knowing that it's of that caliber. I'll take a pause here to take Daniel's comment too about the question that I had asked earlier. Thank you, Daniel. We had asked, can teachers help their learners in becoming more employable if they aren't lifelong learners themselves? Daniel shares that because employability and
Oi, pessoal, boa noite, estou aqui de volta. A professora Maggie, ela caiu aqui da nossa live, mas já acionei ela aqui, já avisei que a internet dela caiu e ela já saiu e está voltando de novo, tá bom? Só um minutinho que ela já volta aqui com vocês. Daniel, ela estava lendo, né, a sua pergunta, eu deixei aqui aparecendo aqui para todo mundo. Assim que ela voltar, ela já responde a sua pergunta, tá bom? Muito obrigada por você estar conversando aqui com a gente também. Quem tiver mais perguntas, pessoal, pode ir mandando para ela também, tá bom? Ó, a professora acabou de retornar. Oi, Pro.
Oi, desculpa. There was an
Imagina.
outage here. E estou sem internet, mas usando o hotspot do celular, então espero que dá certo.
Ah, sim. Não, agora tá certinho, tá ótimo aqui. Estamos te ouvindo e te vendo bem.
Ok. Vamos tentar de novo. Desculpa, gente.
Imagina.
Ok, deixa eu colocar a apresentação aqui de novo também.
Uhum. Eu deixei também aqui, Pro, a perguntinha do Daniel.
Ok,
Tá bom?
ótimo. Yes, thank you. Sorry about that, everyone. Os comentários. Okay, yes. No, because employability and its success require the ability to adapt to what is new. In order to do so, you need to always be learning. You can't teach what you don't know. Awesome. Thank you, Daniel, for your participation. Muito obrigada. I agree that there's that key word you use, the ability to adapt to what is new, and that's always evolving here. We see with new technologies and new methodologies that we use in the classroom too. So thank you very much for that. Let me jump back into where I was. And I was just getting into talking about our presence in different universities around the world. And I want to give you four different case studies here of different places we've done programs and that were really successful, and we saw a lot of impact with the teachers that we worked with in different locations. So between Nicaragua, Colombia, Scotland, and Brazil, that spoiler alert, that's going to be Faculdade Phorte. You will hear from Bruna then. But first off, we worked with the Universidade Americana in Nicaragua, and it was a great experience for the teachers there that were already learning a lot of their own strategies, but had some fresh information come in from the course they took with Bridge. They learned a lot. Javier from the university shared they learned a lot of strategies and methods to teach in a better and meaningful way. And sometimes that's what it is. We can have all the knowledge given to us and the programs that we're at, but need somebody else to a different perspective and look at something, and that can really refresh what you're learning. So there's one example. And I should add, sorry, they took one of our professional courses, the 100-hour certification, which was something that actually their government sponsored for them, which was great. The university did. And then we have Universidad del Rosario in Colombia. And this was a group of faculty at the university that were teaching English and teaching business classes. And they have implemented CLIL methodology in their classes to a large extent. So it was important for them to find different strategies and ways to integrate CLIL activities into their classroom. You could see a picture of one of the professors with their students there in Colombia. And then Frey, the coordinator of the program, shared in the classroom, shared some feedback on what the faculty took from the program they took. In the classroom, they feel more confident to do any new CLIL activity rather than keeping on using the same old material they used to work with. They don't have to spend so many hours thinking on how to teach the language, but they can now concentrate on finding new references and content according to their discipline instead. Sometimes you just need to give yourself that opportunity to be able to work on understanding that concept in a deeper level to make it easier for the other activities that you have to do. And then we also have the University of St. Andrews, Scotland, and they are one of our pathway partners just within the last year. And I guess what's exciting about them is most recently we had an IDA Online graduate. That's our pós-graduação program that they're able to transfer that credit into this University of St. Andrews. They live in Austria, and they're going to Scotland for this program. So I'm excited to hear more about their story. But this is a great partnership because it is somewhere at a great location, and they are one of the oldest programs in the UK too. The Director of International Education, Owen, shared with us that Bridge has an excellent reputation within the global TESOL industry,
in particular for the delivery of online programs. This was a natural fit with our focus on high-quality provisions of both distance learning and on-campus education. So that ability to provide a blended program is where we're kind of finding a lot of people need that option to be able to work in that capacity, seeing how you can be flexible. And it is the learning curve of being able to see what's the best way to deliver a blended program, which I think is a great lead-in to having Bruna come on for our next slide to talk about Faculdade Phorte in Brazil and the program that we're running together there. But Bruna has lots of details that she'll be able to share with the audience. Bruna está aí?
Eu estou aqui. Ai, que legal. Muito bom estar aqui. Muito bom estar aqui com você, Maggie. Muito bom estar aqui a convite, né, do pessoal da CULT, da Faculdade Phorte, para poder falar um pouquinho, só um pouquinho, para que vocês possam entender o tamanho gigantesco, né, da parceria entre a BRIDGE com a Faculdade Phorte, né? Como a Carol fez lá no início, na apresentação, eu costumava fazer parte, né? Eu fiz parte da coordenação por muitos anos, e é uma honra poder estar aqui, a convite deles, para poder conversar um pouquinho, porque a minha história com a faculdade é muito interessante, porque eu fui aluna. Então, eu posso falar com propriedade de como foi fazer o curso da BRIDGE, em parceria com a Faculdade Phorte, né? E depois trabalhando com a coordenação, estando em contato com eles, e hoje como professora do curso, né? Então, a gente vai falar um pouquinho a respeito do curso de ensino de língua inglesa, e o nosso curso com a parceria com a BRIDGE é o curso de ensino de língua inglesa, né? Um curso muito, muito gostoso de fazer, um curso muito intuitivo, com excelentes professores, né? Modéstia à parte, porque eu também faço parte desse grupo. Mas a gente tem Jane Godwin, a gente tem Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry é ótimo. Stephen Hughes. Stephen Curry é um jogador de basquete. Estava ouvindo o nome dele agora há pouco, confundi os Stephens. Stephen Hughes, a Chris Speaks, Amanda Lambert, nós temos Andréia Fernandes, enfim, são grandes nomes aí do ensino de língua inglesa, né, envolvidos em toda a criação desse curso, em todas as aulas, enfim, é uma equipe incrível. Mas a parceria que temos com a BRIDGE é fantástica, porque a BRIDGE complementa tudo que a gente vê ao longo do curso, né? Então, a gente vai falar sobre, por exemplo, metodologias ativas. Dentro do curso da BRIDGE vai ter alguma coisa relacionada com metodologias ativas, né? A gente vai falar a respeito de... deixa eu pensar, habilidades receptivas, né? Então, lá no módulo BRIDGE vai ter bastante coisa sobre habilidades receptivas. Habilidades produtivas também, a mesma coisa. Na parte de língua, né, conhecimento linguístico. Então, assim, de uma maneira geral, o curso da BRIDGE, ele complementa muito o que foi construído pela faculdade, né? E o que é incrível é a gente, no final, eu falo a gente aluno, né? Nós como alunos, a gente ter duas certificações, dois diplomas. Então, um pela BRIDGE, né, reconhecido internacionalmente, e outro de pós-graduação, aí, em nível acadêmico, pela Faculdade Phorte. Então, é simplesmente incrível. Eu vim só fazer essa participação, falar um pouquinho dessa importância, porque é uma parceria grandiosa. Como a Maggie falou, nós estamos, a BRIDGE, na verdade, está aí basicamente em todos os cantos do planeta, né? Mas aqui no Brasil, de uma forma muito, muito importante, muito incrível mesmo, com a Faculdade Phorte. Então, é um prazer poder estar aqui, é muito bom poder falar para vocês, assim, com muito amor no coração, a respeito dessa parceria entre Phorte e BRIDGE. E é isso, deixo a palavra aí para a Maggie novamente.
Ótimo, Bruna, obrigada. Mas é verdade, faz anos que eu falando de outras parcerias nas universidades, mas eu acho que o mais antigo é com a Faculdade Phorte, mas que 10 anos, não sei se é mais que 15, né? Não quero exagerar demais. Mas é muito tempo na parceria com a Faculdade Phorte, e a gente sempre tem gostado trabalhando com vocês e os novos avenues de trabalhar também.
É isso mesmo.
Ótimo. Obrigada, Bruna.
Imagina, obrigada a você.
E além disso, I'm saying all this information, falando para vocês sobre nossos programas, mas you don't have to take it just from us. We have a lot of alumni that might be of interest for you to learn a little more and hear about their story. Now, I chose here a lot of stories of Brazilians that are teaching, that have taken a course with us, and are teaching in different capacities. So Roberta did a transition from human resources to TEFL. She's teaching online, both at a school, online and at a school. So she's doing a combination. So you can read this story on our website. I'm going to share it with you in a bit. But if you want to learn more about her story, it's a great way to get some inspiration and some ideas. Mateus is teaching English proficiency test prep. So I talked about those different niches and focuses that you can take to kind of stand out as an English language teacher. And Mateus is doing just that. Carol from Brazil, I don't think it's the Carol that's here on the call, of course not, but she shares how Teacherpreneur Academy is helping in her independent teaching journey. I didn't talk a lot about the Teacherpreneur Academy, but it's a community of teachers for you to be able to network and learn from one another and how they are working on developing their own independent teaching businesses. So that's a great opportunity for you to create a community of practice if that's something you're interested in. Larissa from Brazil is teaching online to students in Chile. Clayton from Brazil was in IT, but now he's specifying in business English online. And then we have Johan from Venezuela actually teaching English in Brazil. So these are some good inspirational stories. I always like to hear reviews from other people and hear what they're doing, the different paths and options that are available. And that can be inspiring for you or motivating as well, as if you're looking for that motivation to be that lifelong learner, to look at which program's right for you. If it's the Faculdade Phorte, I would highly recommend. If there's a different course that you needed to take as a stepping stone to the next one, we're happy to talk with you and see how we can support you. And there's different ways that you can join our community. We have our website. I think that Carol's going to share that in the chat for you as well. But you can go to bridge.edu/TEFL to see our different courses. And one way, if you're not ready to really take a course but want to get into our, be part of the community, keep up with the news that we're sharing, we offer a lot of, beyond our courses, we share different news of what's happening in the field of ELT. And that's where I would highly recommend subscribing to our newsletter. You can do that on our blog where you can subscribe. So that's just the same website /blog/subscribe. All of this you'll find on our main website as well, okay? But just for you to know to take a look for that, it's a great way to get our bi-weekly newsletter with the freshest content that we have coming out. We have our expert series webinars as well. These happen monthly. They're free to attend, and it is we bring on experts to talk about different topics. This upcoming month, I think, and even next week, our topics on games and activities for the English classroom. So that's a hot topic. We're always looking for new, fresh ideas. It might be that you only have an hour to commit to your own learning and your professional development. Well, this is a great way to get that activity in and get some ideas going and hear from different people in the space, interact with people in these webinars too. I mentioned the Teacherpreneur Academy. You can join that academy for that professional network, and you can follow us on social media channels as well. So with that, I thank you all for your attention and your patience with my technological glitch. We actually had an electric outage here, and I'm on my my cell phone data, but I'm happy to take any questions that you have, any commentary. I'm happy to hear. Thank you very much. Or if Bruna or Carol have anything I should expand on, I'm happy to hear from you too.
Oi, Pro, tudo bem?
Oi,
O Daniel comentou aqui, was really good.
Thank you, Danielle.
Vou colocar a Bruna aqui também, para eu poder me despedir. Agradecer novamente vocês, Maggie e Bruna, muito, muito obrigada pela presença de vocês aqui na live de hoje. Obrigada, pessoal, por vocês também que estiveram aqui na live com a gente, estiveram acompanhando. Caso vocês não queiram deixar aqui nos comentários, pode mandar para a gente nos links aqui embaixo. Então, na descrição tem o link do evento, que vai acontecer no dia 2 de março. Tem o link do nosso WhatsApp, caso vocês queiram mandar alguma pergunta também. Se você está assistindo essa live depois, né, que aconteceu, pode mandar, continue mandando perguntas para nós. Nosso WhatsApp está aqui na descrição. E também o link do curso de ensino de língua inglesa, que a Bruna comentou, que tem a parceria com a Bridge, está na descrição também. E o link da Bridge, que a Maggie comentou, também está aqui na descrição. Tá bom? Todos os links estão aqui para vocês. Caso vocês tenham alguma dúvida, podem mandar para a gente, tá bom? E muito, muito, muito obrigada, meninas. Agradeço mais uma vez. Espero vocês no encontro. Meg e a Bruna, tenho certeza que vocês vão estar lá, né, assistindo.
Estaremos com certeza.
A Bruna estará lá. A Bruna é uma das palestrantes também, né, Bruna? Meg,
Sim,
você está super convidada para assistir a gente lá.
Ótimo.
Tá bom?
Ótimo, obrigada,
também,
Carol.
Espero o pessoal que está assistindo a gente lá no dia do evento, porque vai ter muito conteúdo, muitos insights para vocês melhorarem as aulas de vocês. E amanhã a gente continua com as lives também. Amanhã teremos aqui com a gente a Juliana Maester, lá do canal Vamos Hablar Espanhol. Embora seja, né, a língua espanhola, vai ser um conteúdo para todo mundo, para todos os professores aí de vários idiomas, porque ela vai falar sobre como conquistar alunos através das redes sociais. Não dependa de indicações. Uma boa dica, né, meninas? Bom tema.
Excelente. A Juliana é maravilhosa.
Ela é maravilhosa. Então, amanhã estaremos aqui novamente às 20 horas, tá bom? E esperamos todos vocês, meninas, vocês também estão super convidadas aqui para estar com a gente amanhã.
Ótimo,
muito obrigada, Carol. Muito obrigada, Maggie. Uma honra poder estar aqui com você.
Igualmente.
A gente se vê. Muito obrigada. Tchau, tchau, gente.
Tchau.
Muito obrigada, meninas. Boa noite, pessoal.
Boa noite.
Tchau.